Welcome to the Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast with Forrest Kelly.
We have a very special guest on a topic we've never broached before. This should be exciting.
I figured. I was like, how do we rip this out in 5 minutes? There's some editing involved.
Best 5-Minute Wine Podcast.
Laura DiPasquale. I'm the Senior Vice President for Artisanal Wines at Southern Glazer Wine and Spirits, and I'm also a Master Sommelier.
Okay, Laura DiPasquale, before we get into Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits and what they do, and your title as VP and the artisanal wine category, let's get a little background on you. So you're growing up in New York, and then how did you get to where you are now?
Totally by accident. I thought that I would be a famous artist. And so I went to undergrad school in DC, back to New York City for graduate school, working as a painter. And of course, having to actually make a living, I started working in some great restaurants. And by accident, some really great restaurants, and started learning about wine. And I wasn't really that into wine, but I understood that as a server and as a manager, selling more wine, of course, meant that I would make more money. And then I relocated to Miami Beach, in the heyday of South Beach, still not into wine. And then, but still trying to make it as an artist and working in restaurants, working at, the best restaurants at the time in Miami. And by accident, complete accident, I found the course for sommeliers and took the intro class at Disney in Orlando. A friend of mine was going to FIU for his master's degree in hospitality, and he came up to me and he said, "Hey, there's this class. Will you go with me? You're the only person that I know that knows anything about wine, and I want to cheat off your paper." So we went, and we weren't even enrolled. We just showed up, and I was like, "Hi, could we take your class?" And they were like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "Well, I work at, Norman's with Norman Van Aken, award-winning chef." And he was like, "Yeah, we'll let you guys in." And then I had 3 master sommeliers talk about wine in a way that I had never heard before. And it's like I had this ginormous epiphany where everything I loved in the world collided. Art, travel, culture, history, farming, geography, tales of lore. And I just looked at him and went, "I'm going to be a master som." And so I came back to Miami after having passed level 1. At that point, Norman decided that he needed a dedicated sommelier, so he made me to stay on the floor. And then I started interacting with people in the trade, in business. So whether they were working for a distributor or they were working for a porter, everybody came to Norman's because it was the restaurant in Miami at the time, and I was the som. After a couple of years, I started looking at this going, I could do that. My art wasn't going anywhere. I had my solo show in New York and my solo show in Miami and Philadelphia, and I'd won a bunch of grants, but I just couldn't make a living. I was getting to a point in my life where I needed to make some adult decisions around things like health insurance, not working every holiday, not working every weekend. And so I decided to take the leap. And I was pursuing the MS degree, and I went into the business side, working for an Italian importer. That's how the career started. So I've been in the wine business for over 20 years. I spent years at that Italian importer, working my way up to vice president of fine wine, and then left to join a distribution company. Fell in love with the distribution aspect rather than what we call supply or supply chain, which is what I had been doing working as an importer. And then 8 years ago, I brought a business concept to Southern Glazer to establish a new boutique artisanal wine division across the footprint or across the country in the major markets. And so I travel extensively to the States. And then I also travel extensively through wine countries, France, Italy, Spain, Germany, South America, the United States, of course, working with our different wineries, recruiting different wineries, discovering new regions, new up-and-coming wines, and convincing them to be part of our distribution footprint and helping them build their brand.
We'll get into the technical aspect later, but just how about a layman's overview of Southern Glazer's Wine and Spirits?
So Southern Glazer Wine and Spirits, I joined the company 8 years ago. and they are the largest distributor of wines and spirits in the world. So we distribute alcohol products in Canada, the United States, and the Caribbean, representing everything from vodka to Cheval Blanc to Caymus to Josh Cellars. And I'm a senior vice president of artisanal wine. I've always been based in Miami, but I travel extensively.
The best 5-minute wine podcast.
Don't forget my favorite part.
Please like and follow. Oh.